What's up, guys? My name is Aaron. Today I'm going to be reviewing the second season of Master of None. This is the second season of the show starring Aziz Ansari as Dev. He's a guy in New York trying to navigate his love life, his professional life, and just his friends in general. This season he started off in Italy after he broke up with Rachel, and he's just trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. And while he's in Italy, he kind of finds out that what he's looking for might be there. I was a big fan of the first season. I thought it was a really good show. It kind of took me by surprise by how artistic and how well done the show was. With how goofy Aziz Ansari's persona is, I thought that it was a really well done show and one of the biggest surprises of 2015. So I was definitely looking forward to this season for those reasons. I loved that first season. So even though it came out after like a year and a half, I was still really pumped for the season. And even though it was that long, I think that this might be a little bit better than season one. And the major reason why I think that this season is a little bit better than season one is that I think it's a lot more risk taking in the season. He plays with the format a lot with this show. Like even in the first season where it takes place primarily focused on Deb and Brian's parents, it really plays with the format of what the episode is supposed to be like. The first season was kind of like an anthology kind of. Each episode is about a different thing, but there are certain things that kind of interlace throughout the show, and there are kind of themes of the show too. It kind of reminds me of Louie in a way, but this season really took that kind of approach and kind of threw it to the atmosphere. Like this season, the first episode is filmed entirely in Italy, and it's shot in black and white, and it really reminds you of those old school Italian movies and stuff like that. The episode New York, I Love You just focuses on a completely different group of people, not Dev or his friends or anybody that you really know on the show. It's these just kind of people that just have their life in New York. It kind of reminds me of a Jim Jarmusch movie like Mystery Train or something like that. And there's also some other episodes that are kind of like a two-parter near the end of the season, where it is kind of focused on Dev and Francesca, them courting and just having a good time together and stuff. One of the episodes is almost an hour long, and I was like, well, that's kind of long, but when you watch it, it doesn't even feel that long. It really just feels like you get into their relationship and stuff and what makes them tick as people. But my favorite episode is probably Thanksgiving, which focuses entirely on Denise and her growing up in a black household while she's a lesbian. I thought that was a really good episode, really emotional and really funny at the same time. And I'm not even just talking about the format and the length of the episodes being kind of risk taking. Even their approach with this season was kind of risky too. Like most shows, if the season ended with a character breaking up with that character, the second season would be them trying to go after that character and stuff. And especially with somebody like Rachel in the first season, I thought that Aziz Ansari and Noelle Wells had really good chemistry together, some of the best I've seen in a TV show. So I would expect that would be the major focus of the show, him trying to go after her and stuff. But this season really didn't do that. It kind of averted that and kind of went with Francesca as a love interest, and I thought that was a really bold choice to do, but it really pulled off because I guess in real life that would be more of more realistic thing to do. You wouldn't go across the world trying to find her. You would just go on with life, and if something comes across, that might happen. So I thought that was a really cool way to do it. Really risk taking, but I thought it was really rewarding because most of the risks that they took with this season really paid off to me. I do like the tonal switches with the show too. Like the first season, it kind of goes through this kind of talky, kind of really funny dialogue, but then it kind of goes into more thoughtful stuff too. Like the first season had with Dev and Brian's parent. This one has another episode kind of like that kind of focuses on the parents too. The episode Religion, that episode kind of goes through the funny stuff with his dad and stuff, talking about NBA teams or showing you his work life and stuff and how goofy that guy is. But then it kind of gets into the major crux of the story, Dev struggling with trying to appease his Muslim family while also not really adhering to that religion. So he eats pork and stuff. So he challenges and eats pork in front of his mother, and she gets really upset. And then Dev and his dad have a conversation about that, and just his point of view was really interesting. Even if he's not religious, just doing that in front of her is really disrespectful and stuff. And it's a really easy point of view to understand and kind of come across. Like Dev was trying to prove a point, but he didn't really think about what he was doing, and I thought that was a really interesting way to do it. And it didn't come across as too preachy or anything like that. And I thought that was a really interesting way to do that. I do like the way that the show is filmed. It kind of reminds me of a Woody Allen movie where it takes in the beauty of the city and stuff. This show's a lot more racially diverse and inclusive than any of Woody Allen's movies. It also like the way that the first two episodes kind of take place in Italy. It really shows off Italy, the cities, the landscapes, the countryside, all that stuff. And then like the episodes kind of focusing on Dev and Francesca's like courtship. They kind of focus on like New York and like the landscapes and the countryside and stuff, and you really get a good sense of the way that the cities are and stuff. Also, I liked that it took influence from different filmmakers too. Like I said, it does take influence from Woody Allen, of course. It also takes influence from Michelangelo Antonioni. It also takes influence from Jim Jarmusch, and you could really tell that Aziz and his collaborators were really trying to go for a more cinematic feeling, and it does with this season. Like it really feels like a movie with the scope and how big everything feels. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that it's shot. A lot of negative space is used really well in this season, and I thought that was a really interesting show to look at visually. And I like this approach to the season too. Dev is a little bit more stuck in his life of what he wants to do. He kind of lucks into this reality baking show focused on cupcake, and Dev is like the host of it. It's a really cushy and easy job, but it's not the most intellectually stimulating job or the most rewarding job in that sense. And then he's giving an opportunity to kind of stay in that job for 7 years, which is a really good thing for an actor to have a consistent job like that for 7 years. But he doesn't know if he wants to like be in that job for 7 years. So it's kind of interesting him kind of going through having this great opportunity, but kind of like a bad opportunity at the same time. And the producer that kind of offers him the job, Chef Jeff, who's played by Bobby Cannavale, was so good. I loved every single scene that he was in. He's just so explosive and so charismatic. I really like his presence in this season. He's also trying to navigate his love life with Francesca, because even though he wasn't trying to fall in love with her when he met her in Italy, whenever they do meet up subsequently after that, you do see that they have like a really deep connection, and they really do seem like they're suited for each other. But the thing is that she's engaged to be married to Pino, her fiance, and he doesn't want to like mess up that relationship just to, be with her. So he's trying to navigate that as well. It really reminds me of like Sofia Coppola's movies. She's one of my favorite directors. Movies like Lost in Translation or Somewhere, the main person is really kind of stuck in a situation, and they have to make a choice to either kind of stay with the life that they're doing or do something a little bit more adventurous or a little bit more rewarding. And this show really rides that line, and movies like that have always been my favorite, and I like that this season really took that approach and just ran with it. And I do think that Dev and Francesca have like a lot of chemistry together, and it really sells whatever they're trying to do with that storyline. My major flaw with the show is that I think the acting, for the most part, is really good, but I think at times Aziz Ansari isn't the best actor. I do think he's really charismatic and he's really funny, and he pulls off that stuff really well. But when he's doing the more dramatic stuff, it's not really sold on me. It feels like he's just kind of saying the lines and he's not really there in the moment. He's doing the best he can, but I can just tell that he's maybe not the most dramatically trained actor. Same thing goes with his parents and his family too. I do think that his dad has a weird, quirky, unique personality about him, and that kind of overshadows that he's not like a really good actor. So it does come across really funny and stuff whenever he's, on screen. But his mom, again, isn't really the best actor at all. And the same thing goes for his cousin too. You can tell that it's just he's probably just putting his family in the show because it's a personal show to him. And even though that it kind of gives it a more realistic vibe, it doesn't make it that more engaging to watch because it's just his family. You do notice that the acting isn't that strong whenever like his family members aren't on screen. But it's not really like a major problem for me. It kind of works and it kind of doesn't, and they're not really on the show that much. But overall, I did love this season. I think that it was really risk-taking with the things that they did with the show, like the format and the length of the episodes, and even just going away from Rachel, who he had amazing chemistry with in the first season, and going to Francesca, where it's just a really new thing, and the fact that they did that choice was really well done. I do like the tonal switches with the show, like how it can kind of go for light and really funny, and kind of go into more serious stuff without it feeling weird or anything like that. The show really rides that line really well, and doesn't feel too weird in that sense. I like the way the show is filmed. You can really tell that Aziz and his team really took their time making the show feel really cinematic and taking influence from a lot of different filmmakers and stuff. And I just love the general premise of this season, where Aziz is just kind of like stuck in this not rewarding life, but it is a comfortable job, and it kind of reminds me of like Sofia Coppola movies, and I love her movies, so anything that's kind of reminiscent of that is really cool to me. Again, I don't think the acting is that strong from Aziz or his family. They're not in the show that much to give it that low of a rating. So yeah, overall, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Again, their acting is a little bit off, but it's not enough for me to think that this is probably the best comedy show I've seen since Atlanta. It's a really strong season of television, and if it takes Aziz another year and a half or however long it takes for him to get more life experiences to do another show like this, I'm fine with it, because whatever he wants to give me, it's fine. He's a really good, like TV show writer and stuff, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future and stuff. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Master of None Season 2. What did you guys think? Did you like the show? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments what you thought, and thanks for watching. Thanks, guys.